The Art of War by Sun Tzu, Chapter 1, Laying Plans. Welcome back to our deep dive into the timeless wisdom of the art of war by Sun Tzu. Today, we begin with the very first chapter, Laying Plans, or Pian in Chinese. This opening chapter is so important, it's placed right at the start of all 13 chapters, and its central theme is a single word, ji. Now, most people think they know what ji means, and most of them are wrong. Part 1. What ji really means. When you hear ji, you probably think of clever schemes or cunning plots. In Chinese history, ask people who mastered ji best, and they'll say, zhuge liang. But by Sun Tzu's definition, zhuge liang's ji wouldn't even pass the test. Why? Because in the art of war, ji is not about clever tricks, it's about calculation. Think of it like a military SWOT analysis, evaluating strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats before making a move. Sun Tzu breaks it into what he calls the 5 factors and the 7 calculations. The 5 factors are: the way, Tao, are the ruler and the people united in purpose; heaven, timing, seasons, and overall momentum; earth, geography, terrain, distances, and strategic ground; the commander, leadership ability, wisdom, courage, discipline; law and discipline, clear rules, order, and organization. The 7 calculations are: which ruler has the way? Which general is more capable? Who holds the advantage in heaven and earth? Whose laws are enforced more strictly? Whose forces are stronger? Whose troops are better trained? Whose rewards and punishments are clearer? In other words, before you fight, you score both sides across these measures. If the result shows you can win, you fight. If it shows you can't, you don't. It's that simple, and that hard. Even Napoleon's era military genius Clausewitz, the author of On War, the second most influential military book in history, said the same thing. Victory begins with calculating the balance of power. So the first takeaway is this: the art of war is not just a method of winning battles. It is, first and foremost, a method for not losing. Part 2. Zhuge Liang versus Sima Yi. Let's put this into context. Zhuge Liang's Shuhan state had less than 1 million people and fewer than 100,000 soldiers. Sima Yi's Wei state? Over 5 million people and 600,000 soldiers. And yet, Zhuge Liang launched repeated offensives across the mountains to attack Wei. In every one of these campaigns, Sima Yi simply calculated how long Shu's grain would last and refused battle. The result? Zhuge Liang exhausted his forces, wore down his nation, and died in frustration at Wuzhang Plains. That is why Sun Tzu's ji is calculation, not romanticized cleverness. If you clearly cannot win, no military genius will change that. Part 3. The Battle of Changping, a case study. Now, let's test laying plans on one of the bloodiest battles in ancient China, the Battle of Changping. The war began when Qin attacked Han. Han surrendered Shandong commandery to Qin, but the local governor refused and offered it to Zhao instead. The Zhao king greedily accepted. First calculation: the way. Which side had a more just cause? Clearly Qin. Shandong was their war prize, ceded legally by Han. Zhao's acceptance was a provocative theft. Second, heaven and earth. Defending at home in Changping, Zhao had both terrain and position advantage. General Lian Po wisely chose to hold and not fight, because, as Sun Tzu would say, in attack we are insufficient, in defense we are more than adequate. The strategy? Wait for resources to run out. Wait for the enemy to make a mistake. And Qin did not, until Zhao made one first. Impatient, Zhao's king replaced Lian Po with Zhao Kuo after Qin's spies spread rumors. The moment Qin heard, they replaced their own commander with the legendary Bai Qi. The result? Zhao Kuo led his army into disaster, 450,000 Zhao troops dead. This is exactly why Sun Tzu says, calculate before you fight. The wrong calculation, or skipping the calculation entirely, can destroy you. Part 4. Warfare is deception. Sun Tzu famously says, warfare is the way of deception. From here he lists 12 classic deception tactics. When able, feign inability. When deploying, feign inaction. When near, seem far. When far, seem near. Offer bait to lure him. Feign disorder, then strike. If he is full, prepare against him. If he is strong, evade him. Anger him to unbalance him. Pretend inferiority to make him arrogant. Tire him by flight. Sow division among his allies. Attack where unprepared. Appear where unexpected. Do these work? Yes. Can you rely on them alone? Absolutely not. Tricks are situational. Victory still comes from strength. Part 5. The Real Empty City Stratagem. You've heard the romance of the Three Kingdoms tale of Zhuge Liang scaring off Sima Yi with an empty city. Historically, never happened. But a real one did, Zhao Yun against Cao Cao. Zhao Yun, scouting with a few dozen cavalry, ran into Cao's main force. He retreated to camp, flung open the gates, and had his men hide in silence. Cao Cao hesitated. Was this a trap? He decided it was, and withdrew. A small bluff, yes, but even here, the real decision-making was calculation. What's the risk if I'm wrong? What's the gain if I'm right? Part 6, the takeaways. So here's the essence of laying plans. G is calculation. Know when to fight and when not to fight. Deception exists, but comes after calculation. The 2 golden rules: induce your opponent to make mistakes. Do not let greed or impatience make you forget your original plan. I'll leave you with a question. In your own work or life, have you ever, out of greed, forgotten your original intention and paid the price? Think about it. And if someone you know is struggling with deceptive competition, share this episode with them.